do we cope with this? How do we continue to live?
So first I want to say this woman's not suicidal or anything. She's in the UK and she's talking about how in 2020 she had a friend that was trying to tell her about all this stuff, about the trafficking, about COVID, about everything, and she couldn't handle it. She was running a clinic, and she was just trying to get through the COVID stuff, and it seemed too conspiratorial to her. And now she opens up her app now, or in 2024 opens up her app, and everything that friend was trying to tell her has come to be true. So that's what she's saying, is basically, how do you have a normal life? How do you cope after knowing, all these people have been trafficked, what they've done to these people, how much they've lied to people globally, and it's so overwhelming, and it is, and so here's my recommendations, okay, and they're very different than some. Some are going to tell you to keep your vibration high. Keep your frequency high. Don't be around negativity. Jesus said there was very few things that you will find good here. He did. So he said the things that are good, hang on to them. Remember them, he said. This wasn't about living your best life. So just remember these simple things, because instead of trying to there's some things, and I'm a mental health nurse, but there's some things we need to just recognize and label it what it is. Evil is evil. If you want to use a DSM term from the DSM that, is used in psych, then fine. But that's ridiculous. There's some things that are just evil. And when you finally come to, when God, as it talks about in the Bible, lifts the veil for you to see the truth, it is devastating. You need to go through the grieving process. You do. Because people you trusted, especially the most highest of educated, from the greatest of, Ivy League universities, to media you've listened to for 20 years or 10 years, whatever, you find out you have the rug pulled out from under you. So you need to not deny it and say, no, I need to stay in my happy place so I manifest great things to me. No, I'm not trying to say to be negative, but they take that too far. They take it too far, and they have made people too soft with that whole secret and manifesting. And no, if you want to believe God, believe what Jesus said, and he said what you can find that's good here, hang on to that, meaning there won't be a lot of it. So in order to get through it, in order to cope, you have to recognize this is evil. We're not going to make excuses for it. It's evil. Which, if it's evil, then you should recognize that Jesus warned you, because he did. He said the wicked one rules this kingdom. That wolf in sheep's clothing is around every corner. That deceiver will deceive everyone, and that is what has happened. So if you can get to the place of recognizing, and it shouldn't be hard, that this is evil, and there's more evil people than you realized, and the mental health departments can make all the excuses they want, that this is this and this is that. No, it'd be really a good idea right now to recognize what is evil. Because then after that, then you recognize there's a God. I'm going to need God to help me the rest of the way here, if you weren't already walking with God. I think most of the people that did believe in God weren't atheists, let's say, were able to see this sooner. I mean, in many ways, God protected you from it. But now, especially in 2020, the veil was lifted for many to see. And it's a hard one. You need to grieve. This is not the time to say I need to keep my vibrations high because I need to manifest what I want. That don't be having that attitude. You need to go through the grieving process, and that may be up and down. You're going to get angry. You need to vent. Speak up. Speak out. Don't care what other people think. Because there's more people that see it than that don't. But to ignore it and say, I'm going to just pretend like that's not happening, that's not the way to go. You have to see it as what Jesus said. Jesus said, you're in a race. You're in a race. There is something better that lies ahead. You may not understand that. That may not make any sense to you. But there's something better that lies ahead. And that is what Jesus was always telling people to work towards. He said, forget this place. It's run by the wicked one. That doesn't mean just disregard, your life and be, and be depressed. But it meant you're in a competition. So you put your competition spirit on, like if you were trying to win something. Because that's what Jesus said. You want to win the crown. You want to win the race. And the race is, can you see what evil is? Recognize it, not make excuses for it, and not let it destroy your heart or destroy you in the process. And you can do that if you lean on God. Really, you can. Jesus spent more time talking about the evil than he did the good. Because he knew that this wasn't, that this was run by, he knew what was running it. And so he was trying to warn the people, don't try to ignore it. Don't try to tell yourself it's a beautiful world. Is there parts of the world that are beautiful? Yes, there is. And that's the stuff you should hold on to. Not hold on to where you deny everything around you that, so that you don't have to feel pain. No, people need to feel pain. Okay? We have become a desensitized society, okay? Because you don't do any thinking. People need to think. There's a reason the Eckhart Tolles and these gurus love to tell you just stay in the present moment. Oh, that's great, because then you never think about the past, you never think about the future. And I'm not saying it's not good to stay in the present, especially if somebody's hysterical or out of control. Yes, you need to be in the present and ground yourself. But when grounded, you also need to do your own thinking, which means you're going to have to think about the past to put all these pieces together. You're going to have to, that's what it takes. And God will help you with that process. But to deny it and pretend like, no, I'm just going to live in my fake little world that they built up for me, and pretend like none of that is happening, that is how you will lose the race. You will. You will, because you're denying evil. So and if I understand that that's hard for people, it's like, well, I don't want to see it that way. It's scary. That's why you need God. That's why you need God. You just lean on him. I know you say if you don't ever talk to God, you don't know. Just start talking to him. That's all. If you want to go to church, start building a relationship there. You're working towards something higher. Just look at it that way. This place, the world as we know it right now, is not sustainable. And I don't mean the World Economic Forum. They are not sustainable. Their ideas, the transhumanism, the merging of machines, and no, this is not sustainable. It's not even sane, okay? If you want to get on the bandwagon of the Joe Rogans and let's all go to Mars and build a colony, then you know what? You don't even want to see the truth. This isn't about, your dream of going to Mars. Why do you think they want to go to Mars? Get away? Because they know that the true creator eventually sets the record straight? That would be my guess, but you're welcome to believe what you want. It's evil. So you have to let yourself go through the grieving process. You have to lean on God, even if it feels like God's not there. God just wants you to finish the race. Jesus said, Finish your race the same way Jesus did. Doesn't mean you have to be martyred, or I'm just put one foot in front of the other and be willing to see truth.